Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We played this game for 7 days, and now it's finally time for the review and our final verdict. Here we go. So, TemTem. This game that ever since it was announced, I heard over and over, this is the new wave, this is gonna be the new Pokemon, and it's gonna be, or at the very least, it's gonna be direct competition with Pokemon. And before I start off by giving my score on the game, I think we need to address the soccer fan in the room. Is this the new wave? Is this the new Pokemon? Is it going to be direct competition with Pokemon? And the answer to that is a hard no. I give TemTem a 2 out of 10. A 2 out of TemTem, if you will. A 2 out of TemTem, even. It has its merits. It has its merits, which is why it's a 2 and not a 0. However, those merits are few and far between. When the best thing, such as the egg patterns, if you have been following my adventure on this, then you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, the game has different egg patterns depending on for breeding, depending on which type of TemTem is going to hatch from that egg. It has a different egg pattern, which is something I've wanted in Pokemon ever since the official art in Gen 2 had different egg patterns on it for the different baby Pokemon. However, while this is something I've always wanted from Pokemon, and TemTem is delivering on it, as you can see here, it is ultimately a very minor thing. And I think it speaks for itself when something as incredibly minor as that is the best thing I can say about this game. And there are also other things that I like about this game. I like that you've got your little buddy following behind you. I like that you can just easily switch your teammates as easy as pie like that. But that's kind of where it ends. As far as the game's merits go, the game, first and foremost, lacks any and all creativity. It lacks complete originality. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is a Pokemon clone. It is a shameless Pokemon clone, right down to the very tiniest details, such as the music style and the types of animations you see in the game. It fails to do anything original, unfortunately, and as someone who has studied and practices game design, that is ultimately the most important thing for me. creativity and originality. And, of course, the game being well designed. But I am not, and while that is my trade, and while that is the most important thing to me, that is not the most important thing to a game. Objectively, the most important quality a game can have is fun. And the next question is the game fun? And for that, I will unfortunately have to give another hard no. The game is not fun. I found the game to be very boring. And I think partly because of that is the lack of an RNG. I get that's one of the game's selling points. However, the fact of the matter is, every game needs an element of luck. Otherwise, it becomes too predictable. And when something's predictable, it becomes boring. And that's no fun when you know everything is going to happen and everything goes as planned. That's not fun. There's no lucky critical hits to get you that miracle win that you need. There's none of that. It's just soulless. And I really shouldn't keep using this word, but it's boring. It feels too controlled. You can't control fun. Fun is wild and unpredictable. When you try to control fun, it just stops being fun. It becomes boring. But that's not the only reason why the game is boring. The other reason why this game is boring is because of the stamina system. I didn't want to say it, but there it is. The stamina system kind of has... I understand it's there to make you think more strategical. That's the goal. The issue is it doesn't accomplish that goal. And I'm just realizing I said strategical. Make you think more strategical. That's not a word. Strategically. Is that a word? You get the point. And the problem with that is you can tell exactly when a game is going to... how the match is going to end. Whether you win or you lose. You can determine that within the first turn. And when you win, when you're going to win, there's one of two options. Either it ends quickly, because you're able to one or two shot them, or it's a slow burn, because you have to use your weakest attacks not to kill yourself because of the stamina system. And also, another problem with the stamina system is it limits you. It doesn't, your options. It's actually less strategic. Take Toucannon here, for example. I passed up the opportunity to put a stronger move on him because it took up way too much stamina. And I needed these low stamina moves in my moveset. These much weaker moves in order to not kill myself using this move. And imagine if in Pokemon you had to use Tackle for the entirety of the game, or Scratch, or Pound. For the entirety of the game, you had to use that move, the weakest move, just because you couldn't afford to use Thunderbolt or any other move like that. I just remembered we didn't use any of our TMs. Or use Thunderbolt or Blizzard or any actually good moves. And I think the power point system in Pokemon is actually pretty good about this. It wasn't broke, and TemTem tried to fix it and broke it in the process. And I just find myself feeling very frustrated in the battles where I could have won had the stamina system not existed, or even I could have had a better moveset if the stamina system didn't exist, or I could just have a lot more fun with this game if the stamina system didn't exist, very frankly. And in Pokemon, lower power moves have more power points. Tackle has 30, meanwhile an actually good move like Thunderbolt has 15. And I think that's a pretty good system. Whereas the very powerful moves like Thunder only have 5 uses before you can't use it anymore. And when you start using Struggle, that's it. You lose. You can't win the fight once you start struggling. But in this game, you can't go a single fight without hurting yourself. Because a single move can take up half of your entire stamina. Or in Mega Tsunami's case, a single move takes up more than half of your entire stamina, so you can't even go 2 turns without hurting yourself. And ultimately, I think that just makes the game more frustrating than fun. And I came into this thinking, okay, the game design department's not gonna get, its approval from me. But the programming and art departments probably will get their approval from me. However, they're not. The programming department, as far as the actual game goes, there's been a few bugs and hiccups, but nothing too major. However, every time I tried to boot up this game, it crashed. I had to try like 6 times every time I had tried to boot it up. I had to fight with the game just to get to play it. Now, any sane person on the first day would have given up by the 3rd attempt and just said that, screw it, I'm getting a refund. this game is unplayable because I can't even start it up. But I was on a mission, so I did not do that. I was on a mission to play this game for 7 days. However, if this were any other circumstance, that's probably how it would have went. Because this game is, at times, and under certain circumstances, literally unplayable. You have to fight with it to actually get it to turn on. And as far as the art department goes, the environments look fine. The TemTem themselves look fine. The player characters look fine. But characters like Aina... I've compared Aina to the Happy Mask Salesman and Sophia. They just look like... Their faces just look like 2D textures painted on a mannequin. It doesn't look good. And a lot of the characters in this game look like that, so, you know, the art department gets a 75% from me. You know, that's 3 out of 4 that they got right, so I'll give it to them. But those just plastered on faces don't look good at all. And with a game like this, a lot of people just want to play the game. When you have like this gigantic monologue that every character has to say before they fight you, and they're not even important characters, they're just these random guys hanging out in the roots waiting to battle you. A lot of people just want to get into the battle. They don't care about anything this character has to say unless it's funny. And a lot of times it's not funny. So all these characters have these full-blown discussions, and you just don't care. You just want to get into the game. You just want to fight them. Or, well, in this case, you actually don't want to fight them, because the game's just not great. Pokemon is my favorite game. So, logically, I would like this game. Even if it is a direct clone, I should like this game because it's a direct clone of my favorite game. And I like that game, so I should like this game. It makes sense. However, I don't like this game. For reasons I've already said, it's boring. And it feels like a watered-down experience compared to what I love, what I'm used to, Pokemon. And as far as they advertise this game as an MMO. And the thing is, it's not. This game is not an MMO. A lot of people are under the guise, or guile, or under the assumption that because Game Freak or Nintendo wasn't going to make a Pokemon MMO, so these guys, their goal was to make a Pokemon MMO. The thing is, if that was their goal, they failed on it. The most involvement of other players that exists in this game is just seeing them running around in the same space you are. You can't talk to them, you can't click on them, challenge them to battles. You can challenge them to battles, but there's no online matchmaking, so getting a match together is like pulling teeth. And even then, probably 1 out of 20 people will actually want to fight you. It's not an MMO, and here's the thing. This is not something that is not offered by Pokemon. In Pokemon Sword and Shield, in the wild area, you can get all these exact features. You can have people running around. In fact, there's no group content in this game, like dungeons and raids. The most you can do is, co-op. Can't find the co-op button, but the most you can do is co-op. And the thing about that is that co-op is not an MMO. Co-op is not group content. Group content is teaming up with like 3, 4, or 5 other players. Co-op is just sitting down with your brother playing Lego Star Wars. And here's the thing, there are no dungeons or raids, group content like this, but Pokemon actually has max raids where you team up with 3 other players to take down this big boss Pokemon. Pokemon is more... Now, with Pokemon Sword and Shield, is more of an MMO than this game is, which was advertised as an MMO, and I think that's just speaks volumes. It speaks for itself. And finally, the last thing I want to say is the monster design. Graphically, the TemTem look fine. I enjoy the artistic style, this kind of like cel-shaded style, the aesthetic they've got going on. However, let me show you the TemTem that I actually like. Out of all the TemTem we've seen so far, how many do I actually like? Like, legitimately. And I guess I'll throw this guy in here. Because why not? I mean, it probably counts, right? There aren't even enough TemTem to basically fill a whole team. I only included this guy because... Oh wait, why are you here? Never mind. I don't like you. These are the TemTem that I legitimately like. There aren't even enough to fill a whole team. And these aren't even TemTem. These are just the eggs I was talking about earlier. And like I said about Genki, I don't like his design. It's not that I dislike it, it's just... I don't care for it. It's nothing. And Sakafan, and ultimately none of them have the potential to be iconic or memorable. Gastrodon over here, Babawa, wonderful. But I don't think you're gonna see a whole lot of fan art about this guy, if you know what I'm saying. He doesn't have any marketability to him. Same goes for Mako Tsunami and Sakafan. He's just a floating ball. In fact, I think his pre-evolved form, Kaku, had more personality than Saku does. And that's kind of what I'm getting at as the biggest... I do like FOMU. We didn't, unfortunately, have a chance to catch this guy, but I do like him. But same with, Saku. He's just kind of cute. I mean, this guy's awesome. I mean, look at him. He's got that little pedal that he's standing on. I mean, he's perfect. He's just perfect. This is the only one that I would say that we have encountered that I would say it really hits the notes of being memorable and iconic. And I think that's the biggest problem with this game. Not that it's not fun. which it's not, and not that it lacks any originality, which it does, and which it does. It's not original. Um, I think that's the biggest shortcoming of this game, is because why do you, when you look at the monster catching genre, which we really need a better name for, because that's kind of an awkward phrase, and no one can really agree on a phrase for the monster catching genre. I've seen monster catching, monster collecting, monster battling. Pick one. But anyway, the reason people like this genre, the reason people like Pokemon, is because they like the Pokemon. Or for Digimon, they like the Digimon. Yokai Watch, they like the yokai. But the TemTem have nothing special. Are nothing special. They're just, some of them are cute, and that's all that has. They are. And even the worst Pokemon, the absolute worst Pokemon, Diggersby, even he is better than almost every TemTem. Because you look at this guy, alright, you look at Diggersby, and he's just got all this personality coming off of him. I mean, just look at this guy. You can kind of tell what he's about just by looking at him. And as far as TemTem goes, you don't get that. I mean, sure, he's cute, but that's it. But there's one TemTem that does this. There's one TemTem that could actually pass for a Pokemon and could be amongst even the heavy hitters here, like Diggersby. That's a joke. Diggersby sucks. He's the worst Pokemon. And that's Platypet. Platypet is a fake Pokemon that was designed. Here's the artwork in question. He was designed to be a fake leak when Sun and Moon was coming out. This was going to be the water starter, and a lot of people believed it because just look at him. He has every quality that makes Pokemon. He's memorable. He has the potential to become iconic. He looks like a Pokemon. You can tell what he's about just by looking at him. He's got a personality. He's a legitimately good design, and I have a little bit of an issue with this. And it has nothing to do with a fake Pokemon being in a literal fake Pokemon being in, the fake Pokemon game. It's got nothing to do with that. It's actually, this guy is in almost every single trailer for TemTem. And I have a little bit of an issue with that, because how this guy got in the game in the first place is that the artist backed the game. And he spent like a small fortune, I think it was like $3,000, to get this guy in the game. And then they go ahead and market him as part of their marketing campaign and use him as a selling point for the game that he paid to get in the game. And it just feels like he should have been compensated for that. Obviously, they have all the rights to do whatever they want with this guy. This guy's Creema's property now. But it had something about that just didn't sit right with me. Like, this guy paid them. Like, they knew this was their best design. This was the best looking TemTem they had. and the artist paid them to take it off their hands. And then they were like, oh shit, this thing is genius, let's put in all the trailers. You know, this thing alone will get people to buy our game. And I don't know, it just doesn't seem right to me. It's weird. It's obviously they're within their rights to do this, of course, but it just feels weird to me that they're profiting off of a player-made something a player paid them to put in the game, not something that they paid that person to make for them. It just feels really, really weird, kind of shady. But enough about that. I just wanted to say something about that because, I don't know, does that seem weird to you guys? It seems weird to me. But yeah, none of the TemTem other than Platypet, and Platypet is their best because he has all that personality. He has everything that makes a Pokemon a Pokemon. I guess we're hatching. Everything that makes a Pokemon a Pokemon, and he's the only one that has any of those Oh God! And he's the only one that has any of those qualities. And you know, Krima, they knew that. They took advantage of it. They profited off of it. And I'm just not a fan. And none of these other TemTem can't even hold a candle to Platypet. Not even the perfection that is Cock. Like, I like him, but on an objective standpoint, yeah. So, that's pretty much it. It's not a good game. Don't buy it. I did not enjoy my time with this. Any enjoyment I had was very little, frankly. It is... And of course, they have a caveat for this game that's like, you know, you've seen it on every single one when I booted up the game. It literally says, lower your expectations, this is early access, the game isn't finished. But I feel you lose that privilege of the benefit of the doubt. You kind of lose that privilege when you put a $35 price tag on your unfinished game that you want people to lower their expectations for. I feel like that kind of negates that. And yeah, it's just not worth it. It's not good. Don't buy it. In fact, I have no intention of playing beyond where I did. My character will die on this bench. Yeah, and that's it. I think I'm actually gonna attempt to get a refund for this game, because I have no intention of playing it. And if I were ever to revisit this game, it would be when the full version is complete. And I think I'd rather play it on the Switch just for the novelty of having a quote-unquote MMO on a Nintendo console, because I think that would be kind of cool. And that's provided there aren't any, by the time this game comes out, there aren't any already existing cool-looking MMOs that are already out. So, for my verdict, to conclude this game is not the new wave. This game is not innovating anything. It shows a lack of creativity, a lack of originality, a lack of redeeming qualities. And the best thing I can say about this game is that it has unique egg patterns for its eggs. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. It's not gonna be the next Pokemon. It's not... If Yokai Watch couldn't do it, which was this big phenomenon in Japan, if Yokai Watch couldn't become and eventually Yokai Watch fell off. If that couldn't become the next Pokemon, or even a direct competitor to Pokemon, it was, but not anymore, then neither will this. And neither will anything else. I think Yokai Watch is the closest anything will ever get to becoming direct competition with Pokemon. And even then, Yokai Watch had a unique battle system. Yokai Watch had creativity. This game has none of that. If you're looking for something new and exciting to advance the monster catching genre, look elsewhere. And I'll even point you into the right direction. This is Kindred Fates. It is an action RPG monster catching game. It's creative, it's original, and it actually looks really good. Everything that TemTem is not. It's doing fairly well. I pledged 300 to it. I was originally going to pledge 100, but then I thought, you know what, I believe in this project, I believe in this game, I think it really could be something special. I'll give them a full paycheck. And the team making this has a good track record. They're based in Columbus, Ohio, which has a special place in my heart for being where the North American Internationals and Nationals Championships always take place for BGC. So I'm there a fair bit of time. That place kind of has, it's a good place in my heart. There are 9 days left to go, so you can still back it. It's the monster designs, unlike TemTem. Look at this. This guy's name is Auburn. He has all the qualities of Pokemon, just like Platypet does. He has the potential to become memorable and iconic. Auburn is already better than anything TemTem has to offer. And that's not all. I mean, this is kind of like Scunch right here, crossed with Joker from Persona. They're not all winners, but, I mean, look at them. That's a good design. That's better than anything TemTem has to offer. And these guys look cool. I mean, this looks like Knight Kingman from Mega Man Battle Network. And Kingman has a special place in my heart because he's like, when you're a kid and there's always like some certain villains stick out to you like as particularly dangerous, even though they're like, nothing special in the grand scheme of the overarching story, because they just really stuck out to you as especially dangerous, like Ember from Danny Phantom. Kingman was that for me. So was Beastman and Shademan and Circus Man from Mega Man Battle Network. It really should have been Plant Man, though, looking back on it, because he shut down the power system for a hospital while a kid was undergoing heart surgery. An operation for a kid's heart surgery was going on. Like, that was actually legitimately scary. That had life or death consequences attached. Same with Bubble Man and trapping people within confined spaces that are set to detonate. That was horrifying. But I'm getting off topic. And it seems there's a requirement for every monster catching game to have at least one waifumon. Pokemon has Gardevoir, Digimon has Angelwomon, Yokai Watch has Blizzaria. We got one! We got one, boys! Right here. But yeah, and there's branching evolutions. There's just a whole lot of good to it. And if you don't want to take my word for it, the Platinum Games has actually given this game a shout out. on their Wonderful 101 Kickstarter page, to get that like ported to the Switch. So if you don't want to take my word for it, take Platinum's word for it, because Lord knows I've accomplished nothing in life, but they know games. I mean, I like to think I know games, but they know games, and they think this thing could be something special. You're the real deal when the real deal thinks you're the real deal. So yeah, Kindred Fates. Keep it in mind, it's not going to be the new Pokemon, but it might be the new wave. And it's not going to be direct competition with Pokemon. Nothing will be. Nothing will ever replace Pokemon. There will never be a Pokemon killer. It's the World of Warcraft of the monster-catching genre. Not even Shin Megami Tensei can do that. And that came before Pokemon. Shin Megami Tensei is the EverQuest of the monster genre. Much like, the EverQuest came before WoW, and WoW was the EverQuest killer. Yeah, I don't have to explain this to you. But yeah, it's not going to be a direct competition with Pokemon. It's not going to be the new Pokemon. It's not going to be a Pokemon killer, but it could be the new wave, and it will advance the genre. So if you're looking for something new and exciting for this genre, but don't look here. This game is nothing special. It's not good. Don't buy it. And I think a lot of it only got traction or hype because people were upset about Pokemon Sword and Shield. I liked Pokemon Sword and Shield. In fact, I think the Wild Area was the best new feature the game introduced to Pokemon since breeding in Gen 2. And I think once this game's initial hype dies, and it will, it'll just kind of die out, and this game is online only. Servers are expensive to run. I give this game 2 years before it shuts down. It's an indie game, it's online only. Once its initial hype dies out, and again, it'll just disappear, and it'll be a faint memory. I really think that's going to happen. So, to end off, once again, I give TemTem a 2 out of 10. The game sucks, don't buy it. See ya.